Hey, what's up, guys? My name is June, or some people call me Junie or Junie B. Doesn't really matter which one you call me, just as long as you call me. Alright, guys, I'm back with another story time, and this time it's about those deadly ass Geminis. Now, before I tell this story, I am in no way, shape, or form trying to bash Geminis. You know what I mean? They have some nice qualities. Not for real. Like the fact that a lot of Geminis are typically individuals and intellectuals. They're usually pretty smart and pretty different, a bit eccentric, stuff like that. Also, a lot of Geminis have the gift to gab. You know what I mean? They can navigate any social setting and stuff like that. They're kind of like chameleons. It's like a superpower that I wish I had, but I don't possess, unfortunately. Also, a lot of Geminis are funny as fuck. They're called the comedians of the zodiac sign. Like, the motherfuckers is hilarious. They kind of have like this childlike energy about them that's just really fun. You know what I mean? And typically, since Geminis have the gift of gab, they usually are pretty great writers and are very artistic. You know what I mean? Actually, some of our best artists are Geminis, like Ice Cube, Steve Lacy, Kanye West, Lauryn Hill, Prince, Andre 3000, Tupac, Biggie, and the GOAT of my city, Kendrick Lamar. And because of those qualities, I have a great appreciation for Geminis. But unfortunately, those are not the qualities that we'll be talking about in this story. Sorry, Geminis. So let's hop to it. As you guys know, there was a time period where I had a lot of different foster kids that lived with us, at different times. If you haven't heard any of those stories, go back and watch some of my previous stories, like Don't Follow Behind Them or The One Dreamcatcher. They're actually mentioned in quite a few of my stories. So shit, watch all my videos. So in middle school, we had about 3 foster kids that ended up living with us. In this story, I'm going to name them Jayla, Tyreek, and Tyrell. Jayla was the oldest. She was about 15 when they moved in with us. And then she had 2 younger brothers. One was about 12 and the other one was 9. Tyrell was a 12-year-old and Tyreek was the 9-year-old, right? No, sorry. Tyreek was the 12-year-old. Tyrell was the 9-year-old. And in this story, we're going to be talking about the 12-year-old. We're going to be talking about Tyreek, the demon, the Gemini. To be honest, they were all pretty terrible children, but Tyreek was by far the worst. So yeah, they all moved in, and then my mom ended up enrolling them in school with us. And she told me, she told all of us to tell everybody that we were cousins. And that was so that, their business wouldn't be out there, so they wouldn't be ashamed or embarrassed because of whatever they were going through. You know what I mean? And, it was very fortunate that they were all around our age, just the opposite sex. So the oldest girl ended up going to school with my brother. The youngest child, Tyrell, ended up going to school with my sister. And then the middle child, Tyreek, the Gemini, ended up going to school with, guess who? Me. And Tyreek definitely made a name for himself quickly. Like, no lie, we first started going to school, we were walking down the street. We were walking this way, and there was a boy walking in the opposite direction, right? And out of nowhere, Tyreek just started spazzing out. And he was like, what the fuck are you looking at? Why the fuck you looking at me? And he just punched the boy in the face and boom, like hard as shit. And I don't know what the fuck just happened. I'm just like, what the fuck? And Tyreek just like, I don't like when niggas be looking at me. And he was like, that should be pissing me off. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And the thing was, the boy that he punched was like, he was like this tall, big, husky boy. But he looked like a nerd. Like, he was kind of sweaty. His hair was like stringy. And he had these glasses on. And he was walking around with a #1 foam finger. Like a baseball team or whatever. And I'm looking like, him? Like, he was looking at you? And I was like, the only thing I'm thinking is, how do you know he was looking at you? Not unless you was looking at him. Not only that, like I said, the boy clearly looked like a nerd, you know what I mean? He didn't even punch him back. He didn't say nothing when he got hit. The boy just kept walking. He just ate it. He just ate that punch and just walked away. He didn't cry or nothing. He just walked away. He just took that shit on the chin like it was nothing. I'm just like, you better than me. I would fuck that. Oh my God. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know why Tyreek did that, like, at all. I don't know if he was trying to look crazy or he was trying to look tough to, like, me and my sister. Like, oh, he was on some tough shit. But it didn't make him look tough. It made him look like a weirdo. It made him look like a bully, low-key. Because it's like, why are you doing that? I guess it made him somewhat look crazy, but it's just like, hey, weird. Why you punching on him? I don't know what the fuck he thought was about to happen. Yeah, but we wasn't impressed by that. It's just like, what the fuck? You're a weirdo. Shit's not impressive. No lie, he would start all type of stuff. I remember one time we were at home and I'm walking past his door and out of nowhere he just called me a bitch. He was just like, bitch. And, I went up to him and I started cussing him the fuck out. Like, who you calling a bitch? You know what I mean? I started cussing him the fuck out. I'm just like, just flipping out on him. And he was just sitting there with a blank face, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's nothing. Like, it was so weird. Later on, he told me that he likes how it sounds when I'm mad. He likes how it sounds when I be cussing and when I be flipping out. He said that it turns him on, like he just really likes it. And I'm just like, nigga, what? Like, bro, if that ain't a sign of crazy, tell me what is, because, bro, what the fuck? Bro, this dude was always on one. Before he got to my school, there was never a fight at my school. Like, not even one. And when he got there, everything completely changed. And that boy stayed suspended. Which wasn't too bad for me because every time he got suspended, he had to do everybody's chores. We had us a little housemate, you know what I mean? Tyreek, you missed the spots. But yeah, that boy stayed fighting. No lie. One time I was in class and I mentioned Tyreek. I mentioned that he was my cousin or whatever, right? And this boy starts spazzing the fuck out. He was like, Tyreek, I hate Tyreek. I hate him. I hate him. My fault, big dog. But yeah, he had grew such a reputation for himself. Even his friends start following behind him with the fighting stuff and trying to be tough and all that stuff. But the thing is, the kids that he was around, they were not really like that. Bro, we were in the suburbs. We were in suburbia. Tyreek grew up in Watts his whole life. I don't know why these kids want to be tough so bad. But yeah, these kids thought they was so hard that Tyreek and his friends, they all got into it with some other kids. Supposedly started over a basketball game, but then they ended up fighting after school. And the fight was so bad that it was like 50 plus kids surrounding the fight. And supposedly the kid that they were fighting got his leg fractured in 3 different places. Not even supposedly, he did get his leg fractured in 3 different places because I actually knew the boy. And the police ended up coming and arresting all these boys. And one of them was passing out. This super pale kid, you know what I mean? Just like screaming, yelling and stuff. And it's just like, bro, I know you're not like that. You be eating. I'm not even gonna say too much, but it's like, bro, it's crazy how like these kids be acting. It's just like, bro, you're 12. What are you doing? But yeah, Tyreek didn't get arrested. Well, he got arrested, but he didn't go to jail. And they just had him sitting there until my mom came and got him. But, but they did expel him. And now they didn't just expel him from that school. They expelled him. They expelled him from every school in the district. I've never heard of that before until I met him. Yeah, every school in the city didn't want him. They were just like, nah, don't bring him here. Because he was already getting into a whole bunch of fights at my school. Then they finally expelled him. They're just like, don't bring him here because he's going to do the same thing here. He gonna be famous in the whole city. So yeah, he got kicked out the whole district and he had to go to continuation school somewhere else. And he ended up having to go to court for that fight because one, the kid got his leg fractured in 3 different places. And I think they probably thought it was him. And also they thought the fight was racially motivated because he was black and the kid that got his leg broke was Hispanic. You know what I mean? But other kids that got into a fight was, you know, other races too, white, Hispanic, they were different races. And the kid that actually broke his leg was actually white. I don't think it was racially motivated, but I hope it wasn't. But yeah, and he really broke his leg. He got on his leg and was jumping on it. You know what I mean? He just was repeatedly just stomping on his leg with both of his feet. I wasn't there. I just heard about it. I was off in the distance, like looking at the crowd. Like, I'm like, I gotta catch the bus. My mom gonna whoop my ass. Yeah, but Tyreek is a mess, huh? And them suburban kids is something else. Like, how you jumping on a nigga's leg repeatedly with both feet? What? But that's not even one of the craziest things he did. One of the craziest things he did was one time I was upstairs and so was my sister and so was his sister. So all the girls was upstairs. My brother, my older brother, he was out of town. He was out of state having fun or whatever, right? And like I said, all the girls was upstairs. All of a sudden, we hear the youngest brother, Tyrell, screaming. All we hear is, help, help. See, and we're like, what the hell? And we ran downstairs, you know what I mean, to see Tyreek sitting on Tyrell's back. And Tyrell's just crying, just pouring out like, help. And Tyreek is sitting on his back with Tyrell's foot in his hand, just like twisting it, trying to break his ankle, like really trying to like, break his shit. Like to the point where like his whole face was red, veins popping and he spit like angry. I'm just like, what the fuck? Fuck wrong with this nigga? And the older sister just started punching him like, boom, boom, boom. Get off of him, get off of him. And, Tyreek got up and started arguing with his sister and shit. Which I'm just like, I don't know what they were arguing about. Cause it's like, nigga, you're wrong. Like, what are you arguing about? And somehow, some way, we ended up upstairs, right? And when we got upstairs, Tyreek is still at our door. Not still at our door, but he's at our door arguing with his sister. And we were all kind of going back and forth. And we're like, yo, like, chill, right? And my sister's like chilling. And then she got up to close the door on him. And as she was closing the door, he swung and hit my sister in the throat, like, boom. And my sister kind of like flew back. And I got up and just started booking it towards the door. And he ran straight downstairs and straight out the front door. And then he ran down the street somewhere. By the time I got down the stairs, he was all the way down the street. Because he got scared when he seen me get up and was just like, oh shit. The thing is, he knew that there was nothing to argue against. He just wanted to argue. And he did what he did just to start some shit. Because why did he get scared as soon as I got up? You know what I mean? And the nigga ran down the street. To him, in his mind, he's having fun. Like, it's conflict and dramatic, but in his eyes, he's having fun. Because something's wrong. But yeah, as Tyreek was down the street, we start talking to the little brother Tyrell that was about to get his ankle broke, right? And Tyrell's telling us the whole story. Basically, what happened was they were both next door, hanging out with our next door neighbors, playing and stuff. And there were some girls over there. And Tyreek was trying to impress these girls, was gaming them up and all this stuff and telling them jokes and stuff. And Tyrell, being the little brother that he is, threw a ball at his head. So when Tyrell threw a ball at Tyreek's head, he was embarrassed because the girls was laughing and stuff, and he was like mad as hell. So what? So Tyreek got the ball and threw it at Tyrell, but then he missed, and I guess that made him even more mad. So then Tyreek went in the house and got a long ass knife to throw it at his little brother. Like, no lie. So yeah, he got that knife and he was chasing his brother around outside and he threw it at his brother. But luckily he missed again. And then he ended up chasing him all the way in the house. And somehow he got on his back. And that's when he got his foot in his hand and started twisting it to break his ankles. Ain't that fucking crazy? He did that all over being embarrassed in front of some girls. Like, bro, I would never do that to my siblings. But yeah, funny thing is, he did all this when my brother was out of town. Like I said, my brother wasn't there. He was out of state, having fun and all that stuff. So yeah, he did all this when my brother was out of town because he felt like he could, right? Because, he's scared of my brother, low-key. He does stuff when my brother's around, but not like that, So when my brother came back, I told him everything that happened, right? And my brother didn't really have a response. He was just kind of like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? And then he just started talking about something else. And I'm just kind of like, what the fuck, right? He didn't really have much to say. So I'm just like, okay. It doesn't seem like he really cared, right? So yeah, like I said, my brother had just got back into town and stuff. He's back home and we're all hanging out and chilling. And we all end up going to the park because that's one of our things we like to do. We like to go to the park and stuff. So we're walking, we're at the park and we're going down into the park, right? And it's like a steep hill, like going into the park, right? It's like a steep pathway that just kind of like goes down and then you're in the park in the middle. You know what I mean? Just to give you a visual of how the park looked, right? So we're walking down this hill, right? And Tyreek and my brother are arguing over whatever, right? I don't know what the heck they're arguing about. Next thing you know, Tyreek comes up by me. Because like I said, he was behind me. So he comes up right by me. And then he starts talking shit. And he was like, see, this is why I don't like that nigga. This is why I don't like your brother. And before he could really finish what he was saying, he just kind of like flew past me. Because my brother had, my brother had bulldozed that nigga like he fucking blow. And bro just tumbled down the hill. Because like I said, it was a steep hill. He was like flipping down the hill. And when he got to the bottom, my brother just yelled out, was like, and keep your damn hands off my sister. Everybody was like, oh shit. That nigga hit him like a football player, like hut, hi, boom, boom, boom. I don't know where Tyreek went, but he ran off pissed. He was angry as fuck. And the thing is, he didn't go back to my brother to be like, yeah, what's up? Because he knew he could have whooped my brother's ass. And it's because then when he came back, he said some random people was taking pictures of him and they was using their flash and the flashes made him have an asthma attack and stuff like that. And I don't know if his sister believed him or not, but I didn't. I'm just kind of like, what? Like random people was just taking pictures of you and then you had an asthma attack. I feel like he was just making up a story so that we could be distracted about what happened earlier and try to change the subject. And so we'll have some type of empathy and feel sad for him. It's like, oh, damn, that sucks. That happened to you. Oh, that's so sad. Nigga, we don't give a fuck. Yeah, that nigga stayed in line. That nigga stayed in some mess. He was always into something, like constantly into something. He stayed with us for like a year or so, or 2 years. Something like that. Yeah, he stayed with us for like a year, a little over a year. And until, he did something really terrible. I can't really say exactly what he did. But basically, he tried to hurt somebody. You know what I mean? He tried to push into somebody's room. You know what I mean? Forcefully. You know what I mean? And his own brother snitched on him. Then again, his brother was a snitch, period. He used to snitch on everybody in the house for some reason. Not for some reason, but he would always snitch on people in the house because he felt like he would get some type of reward for it. Like he would either get candy or toys or a couple of dollars. So he would snitch on people like constantly. If he seen them doing something, he would just tell them because he was like, yeah, I'm gonna get something for it. I wonder what type of nigga he turned out to be. And the thing was, Tyrell, the youngest brother, he was constantly doing stuff too. We never told on him though. We never told on each other, but he was always telling on us. And it's just like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? You can get in trouble just like we're getting in trouble. You do grimy shit too. What is wrong with you? I mean, not grimy stuff. We wasn't doing grimy. We were just the kids being kids, but how you snitching on us and you be doing stuff too? Corny. He was like, man, I wonder what type of nigga he is now. But yeah, like I said, his own brother told on him and was just like, yeah, he did this and he did that. You know what I mean? And I was all like, was he just joking? You know what I mean? Like, was he playing around? And everybody was like, you don't play around like that. You know what I mean? Even if he was playing around, that's not a way to play around. That's not something that's funny. And I was just like, yeah, you're right. And my mom was livid. Like, she was very upset. And she was just like, she called the agency and was just like, y'all need to come get this little nigga now. You know what I mean? Like, this is an emergency. And they was like, they couldn't get him immediately. They said it was going to take a little bit, but they were going to come get him. And she was like, that's not fast enough. So, you know, she didn't take him anywhere herself, but she made him pack up all his stuff out of the room because all the kids were upstairs. And she made him come downstairs with all his bags. And he sat in a chair all day with his bags. And at nighttime, he slept on the floor. Because my mom's room was downstairs, so she could watch him at all times. She never took her eyes off of him because that's how, like, scared she was, or just kind of like, nah, I don't trust him at all. And, you know what I mean? She was right too. I wonder if his little brother knew that all that was going to happen when he told on him. Oh, well. But yeah, after a few days or so, they came and got the little demon. And I would say that we live happily ever after, but that would be a complete lie. You know what I mean? That was definitely not the last time we heard from that little boy. Yeah, that was definitely not the last time. Mainly because his siblings still live there. So my mom would bring him to come visit. But she stopped all that because he was being rude and he was just really a bad influence. Like, he would come over and talk about negative things and stuff like that he would be doing. And it's just kind of like, no. So she stopped that. And mainly because he would be being rude. Like, she'll pick him up and he'll get in the car and wouldn't even speak to her. It's like, how are you mad at her and you did what you did? Yeah. He must have really been hurt because... yeah, guess what he did next after he stopped being able to visit? Well, I'm going to tell you in the next part because I don't want this story to get too long, you know what I mean? But it's going to be coming very, very soon. Maybe even tomorrow, you know, who knows? But yeah, if you're enjoying the story so far, give it a like, you know, give it one of these, a thumbs up. Comment on it, you know, if you got something to say, if you got some constructive criticism, if you just like the video, if... I don't know, just comment on it. You know what I mean? Subscribe if you don't already got a subscription. If you don't got a subscription, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing with your life? You know what I mean? Because you should be subscribed to my channel, Jim the Good. You know what I mean? Because my stories are interesting and they're all true, like 100% true. I think some people be thinking I'll be lying, but it's like, no, these stories are true. Unfortunately. But yeah. If you like it, you know, like it, comment, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. And, but yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. truly. And tune in next time because I'm about to be dropping rubber. So, you feel me? Peace, love.